There we go. I think we are officially live. Hello, everybody. Welcome. We are doing the year in review tag for 2025. We've just realised that we're a little bit cutting it a bit close with the fact that we're nearly at the end of January, but we're just getting there in time. Thank you, everybody who is joining. I am joined by two amazing guests. I've got David from Four Corners of the Page. Hello, David.
Hello. Do you like my version of Clifford?
Ernie's so jealous that he's not a massive red dog right now. Look at that picture. Butter would not melt. How are you doing, David?
I asked Ashley to send me a picture of Ernie about 12 minutes ago, and I cobbled this together. I'm very grateful. Very happy to be here as well. So, hello. Hello.
Happy to have you. I'm looking forward to finding out all of your answers to all these questions. And hello, Jake, Nerd Level Rising. Hi, Jake.
Hi, guys. How are we doing? I don't have nearly as cool of a background, but happy to be here.
I'm taking it as offensive that you didn't also ask for a photograph of Ernie.
I should have. It's actually really funny. I should have done that.
I was thinking as soon as David said about it, I thought I should do this as well. And I thought, no, it's too last minute.
But anyway. I only do it to make up for the fact that my background is a grey curtain. Like, I'm jealous with your plants and your dogs and your books. I have none of this, so I make do with what I have, which is a green screen.
I mean, we actually do. Ernie is laying next to me currently, so he's fast asleep on the floor. So he's kind of here, but not in the shop. So this is good enough. But
do you know one time Jake and I were recording something, and as soon as we finished recording it, I went, and now you're going to give me the tour. And I literally made him pick his camera up and show me all his books. We did like a 360. So I got to see the magic behind the scenes, which was very nice.
Yeah, that's right.
Love this. Okay, I'm just going to quickly take a moment to say hello to some people who are already in the chat. Hello. Oh, we've got somebody. I love Europe, friendly time zone for stream. Yes, I can relate to this. I sometimes miss so many streams because of being in the UK. Oh, Abby's here. It's what Ernie deserves. He would agree. Mr. Good Cat, hello. Just saying hi to everybody. Thank you for joining. Anybody at any point during this, please make sure to join in and put your answers to these questions. We would love to see what your answers are as well. Or if you're not watching live, please do put it in the comments afterwards, because we would love to know. Hey everyone, thank God for this distraction. Yes, I know. Oh my goodness. It's pretty heartbreaking every time I sort of look at the news at the moment. So yes, let's have positive chats, books, all things bookish. Hi, Leanne. There we go. Okay. Are you guys ready?
I am somewhat prepared. I'd give myself like a 7.5. I'll be honest. There's a couple of answers where I've written this or this or this, and I'm just going to wing it. And I'm going to see what comes out. I guess the positive is, Ashley, we've both said that we already made some kind of end of year wrap up thing, right?
Yes.
So we already have that set in stone, and this is the opportunity for some more kind of conversational chat. So yeah, we'll see what comes of it.
Absolutely. I think for one of them, I've literally got 4 options, and yeah, it was too difficult. So I might just rapidly read them all out and hope you guys don't, tell me off for cheating. But anyway, let's go. Okay, let me find question 1, because I was trying to get all techie and actually put the questions so I could put them on the screen, and so I could semi-show off that I know something about technology, which I often don't. But we're going straight in. Question 1. What was your favourite book of the year of 2025? Who wants to start?
Jake.
Mine's easy, man. Shadows Upon Time. That's easy. Finale of Sun Eater that has become. I think if you're gonna really make me pick a favorite series of all time, I'm gonna pick Sun Eater right now.
Yeah.
Although Malazan is right there, Wars, Light, and Shadows right there. There's a Book of New Sun's getting awfully close. The more I sit on it, to be honest.
Ooh.
But it's got to be Sun Eater, at least right now. And it was just such a perfect ending. Some people are gonna have some issues with parts of it, I'm sure, like any good ending. But it was phenomenal. So.
May I ask were you nervous?
No, I trusted him. I trust Rakio, so he knows what he's doing, and he has said for a long time that this is the book he's always wanted to write. So like he knew the direction he was headed. He knew the ending, and he knocked it out of the park, I think.
He's writing a fantasy series now. Is that right?
Yeah. Doom Song is what it's called.
Nice.
Trilogy. Yeah. The Godstained House is going to be book 1. It sounds like it's very like Greek Mediterranean inspired. Shocking for him, but yeah, it'll be great. I'm very excited.
Well, this bodes well for me because me and Andrew, Brother Grimdark, are currently reading Sun Eater, and we're now on book 5, Ashes of Man. So the fact that Shadows Upon Time is your favourite book of 2025, this bodes well that he's stuck the landing.
It does indeed. It does indeed. We gotta get David back on the train.
I want, listen, Jake, look at me. I need you to see the earnestness in my eyes, okay? I know I'm disheveled. I know it's like, what, 11 p.m. over here. I need you to see my genuine face. My genuine face? That sounds like it's a mask. I want to be one of you. Take me with you. Let me ascend to the Sun Eater fandom. Because I hear the enthusiasm and I hear the joy when people talk about Sun Eater. And I appreciate it. And I know what that's like because so many people, let's say Malazan, for example, so many people bounce off Gardens of the Moon and they go, it's not for me. And actually, it's kind of rubbish. And you know, Gardens of the Moon is maybe a wonky text. You could put it that way. But when people say that, I'm like, did you read book 2? Did you try a bit further? Because, and then I hear people say that to me about Sun Eater, like you have to get to book 2 before you make your mind up about it. And I need to get to it. And the only reason I haven't gotten to Howling Dark, I mean, I guess there's 2 reasons. Number one is that I was slightly deflated with my response to book 1, and that maybe soured me a little bit. But also, it's just the buddy reads, man. It's all the other books we have on the side.
I get it.
Yeah. So I'm looking forward to it. Although it's not soon in the docket, maybe February or March, I will give it a go.
Okay.
Because I love hearing people talk about it positively, and I want to be one of you. I'm gaslighting myself into the Sun Eater fandom.
I think you will like it way better than book 1. Just judging by the other stuff that you like, it's quite different from book 1. I think in a lot of ways.
Joanna's coming for you, Jake.
Comment. Snooze. Words will be had.
I have nothing to say. I thought we were friends.
Oh no, Abby also says, I also deeply wish to be part of the Sun Eater fandom. Haven't had the time. That is part of it, I think, is that it's quite a long series. So I think there is a little bit of fear there.
Yeah. And they're not small. I mean, they're not gigantic books, but they're not small either. And you kind of want to take your time with it, I think.
Definitely.
So
right. Here's my pledge to you, Jake. March 31st is my deadline for Howling Dark. That's an okay deadline. I can do that. March 31st. Yeah.
I like it. We gotta get Joanna on that deadline too. But I know she's got crazy buddy reads and all that kind of stuff lined up also, so maybe not. But
here we go. What was it? I'll read book 2 and be put to silence. Oh, yeah. There we go.
No.
Put to silence, put to sleep. One of the 2.
one of them will happen.
One of the 2.
There you go. You both think you're gonna get Howling Dark.
Yeah. The waiting room scene might put you to sleep, but other than that, everything else is great.
That's a good point, actually.
But Joanna has read Book of the New Sun, and so that scene is very strongly inspired by part of Book of the New Sun. So hopefully she likes it a little bit better.
True. And you were loving Book of the New Sun. You said that your reaction to like the end, like finishing it, is
I still haven't stopped thinking about it. It's crazy. It's so weird, but I'm just like obsessed. Like I'm gonna get a tattoo. I'm gonna do stuff. I need a trophy after having finished it, and there's like sequel series. I can't wait to read those. It's just I can't wait to reread it already. I'm this close to buying the Folio Society Special Edition. Also, like it's just I'm like knee deep in it right now. But seeing how it inspired like all the stuff that Rockio pulled from it, it's really cool now to like in hindsight. I'm like, oh, that's where he got this idea or whatever. It's cool.
Can I ask a follow-up question? I'm aware we're 9 minutes into a 2-hour stream and we're not even a third of the way through question 1, which to me is a signal of positivity. But yeah. Jake, and Ashley too, because I know you're on the Sun Eater journey. One thing I've been thinking about recently is predictability in books. And to what extent does it affect our reading experience if we kind of know where everything's going to end up? And I'm kind of curious, without getting into spoilers, obviously, did you find the ending of book 7 predictable? Did it wrap up where you thought it was going to wrap up, or was it a roller coaster?
It was a roller coaster.
Okay.
It's Rockio has been clear. He's like, for anyone who hasn't even read book 1, this is not a spoiler. It's literally page 1. He talks about like, this is the story of how I blew up the sun and ended the war. And like, so you know the ending. But Rockio has said for years now, you know he blows up the sun. You don't know the ending. So like, there you go.
We've all blown up a sun.
Yeah.
We've all been there.
Yeah. I mean, come on. Who hasn't? But it's, yeah, it takes some different directions and stuff that I definitely did not expect. But like, when you think back in hindsight, it all has been foreshadowed all the way through. It's just, you get distracted by some of the really big other stuff that you forget about some other things.
Okay. March 31st.
There you go.
There we go.
Yeah.
It's set. Love this.
Love it.
David, what about you? Favorite book of the year?
It's a pleasing little read. It's very easy and light. I don't actually have a copy. I have book 4 of this series, but I wanted to hold something up because that's what booktubers do. And the green screen, Ernie doesn't allow it. Ernie only allows the man's face. So this is the Judging Right by R. Scott Baker, which was almost my number 1. But I went with The Warrior Prophet, which is book 2 in the Second Apocalypse trilogy. Second Apocalypse trilogy. Oh my goodness, Prince of Nothing trilogy, Second Apocalypse series. It's 7 books, and there's a quartet and a trilogy within that. And I get confused very easily. This book is so good. It's so good, and I can't recommend it to you. It's horrible. So Ashley, think about the eclipse in Berserk, and imagine that put to prose and extended over 800 pages, and you will get and you will get a sense. No, I mean it's not 800 pages of eclipse. Let me be clear, but that level of just unremitting darkness. And I know Joanna's in the chat, and I know that she very much enjoys Second Apocalypse 2. And so, Joanna, if you're hearing this, feel free to jump in or chime in or combat anything I'm saying. But it is the word I keep coming back to is magnetic. This book follows a holy war and your kind of religious conquest, and you're seeing it from mainly the perspective of the invading army going to take over this fantasy version of Jerusalem, essentially. So you know this rabble, this group of people are wrong, quite frankly. That they're going there to rape and pillage and do what they think is right according to their beliefs. And it is such a troubling, harrowing, horrible journey. And I'm trying to kind of circumvent spoilers here because it is book 2. But Baker writes this thing to absolute brilliance. His control of prose on the page is magnetic and hypnotic, and you cannot look away. And you do know, because anyone who's heard R. Scott Baker knows how dark this series is. You know that so many of these characters are doomed or are not heading. They're not heading for sunshine and rainbows, but you can't look away. And although the ending of this initial trilogy was a bit more cerebral than I was hoping for, The Warrior Prophet Book 2 was the most fabulous and terrible reading journey I went on in 2025. And I loved every second, and I would never want to put anyone else through it.
Okay. I mean, I'm sold.
I'm sold, for sure.
Yeah.
It's horrible. It's awful, but it's brilliant. It's so good. I think Berserk is probably a good touching stone or touching base on how far you feel like you could approach Baker. People compare it to Malazan, and this is not an original thought. Nothing I have is an original thought. But the difference between Baker and Malazan seems to me to be that Malazan has hope at the end, and ultimately it is a very hopeful, redeeming story. You just have to go through the muck first. Baker doesn't seem to have any of that, and yeah, I do see the comment down below that I don't know anything because I'm 3 books from the end, and I've heard it gets even more cataclysmic. And I'm very excited.
I'm excited to get to it for sure. Everybody I've talked to about it, they're just like, dude, you're going to really, really love these books. And it's just, and because everybody also, even if they don't like it, they at least highly respect it, right? Like maybe it's too dark for their taste or whatever, but they're just like, wow, the prose is amazing. The ideas are amazing. It's really well fleshed out, all that kind of stuff. So.
That's a very lovely comment. And you know what I've been doing for the last 15 minutes is I've been looking at my shirt, realizing it looks like I'm sweating profusely when I put my head down. So the compliment is kind of salving my ego a bit. So thank you.
Yeah, we don't want your head growing too large on the way out of this live stream. I've seen that someone saying to me to read The Age of Madness first. Just in answer to that, I'm going to be starting Age of Madness, I think tomorrow. So don't worry, I will be. But also saw Joanna said, you can't wait for Jake to read Baker. Me, maybe. Okay. We shall see. We shall see. I mean, when you said, David, that it's a lot like the eclipse scene, but just in full prose. I mean, it's got me intrigued because we all know I always say about how I love dark books and heartbreak and emotional turmoil, but that does sound intense. But the idea of it being so engrossing you can't look away, I'm definitely intrigued. I'm definitely intrigued. What we got? Oh, and apparently the most wonderful prose, as you said. So
hypnotic, magnetic, I think are the words I used, and I think they are the most appropriate. Yeah. What about you, Ashley? What's your top of the year?
I mean, I don't think this will be a surprise to anybody, but mine was Ship of Magic by Robin Hobb. It was really difficult to choose from the three from Live Ship Traders, but I think I had to because I spoke about it. I think it might have been coming from Farseer, and I really loved Farseer, but I really struggled with book 3 of Farseer, which was Assassin's Quest. Really struggled with it. And I was really nervous about Live Ships. People had said it was amazing. It was amazing. And I just was really concerned because the books are huge. And my experience with Assassin's Quest was mixed. And so I was very nervous. But people describe Live Ships as their favourite. And I have never been I don't think I've ever been quite so engrossed in a series before. I couldn't put it down. And I think I mentioned in one of my videos recently, my partner Harry got a full debrief every morning when we were walking Ernie of every single thing that was happening, to the point where he could actually, the next day, he would sort of say, so what's happening with Paragon? What's happening with Kennet and things like that? And he just knew. But he'd never picked it up or read it. So I just couldn't stop. It just took, I think it's one of those experiences where I didn't think books could be like that. I didn't think a story could be like that. I didn't think characters could be like that. So I don't think I've ever been so frustrated while reading about characters that don't exist. And so invested in ships. I can't put it into words almost. It took over my brain completely, and I couldn't stop thinking about it. And even, I'm a few months down the line from reading it, and already I'm excited one day to go back and revisit it again. I think it's the character work. I've never read anything like it. Hobbs' character work is just phenomenal. And I know Joanna read Live Ship Traders in 2025 as well, and sort of has said way better than I could ever possibly word it, but just the character work is just phenomenal. And yeah, and I'm choosing Ship of Magic because it's the first one. It's the one that just really gripped me, and I just adored it. So yeah, that one.
Jake, you haven't read any Hobb, have you?
I have not, but okay, I know I'm going to love it to death. Yeah.
I don't think I've genuinely met anyone who's tried Hobb and not at least very much appreciated her work.
Mm-hmm.
I can't think of a single person.
No.
Yeah, that sounds right.
No, yeah. I think I think I'd heard so much about her books, and that they were favourites, and that the characters really stood out for so many people. And now I know why. It's phenomenal. And I'm really grateful that I still have some books to go, that I've not quite finished it, because I feel like I won't know what to do when I finish Realm of the Elderlings.
For me, Tawny Man is the best thing. I mean, I've only read up to Tawny Man, but for me, Tawny Man is far superior than either of the first two trilogies.
Honestly, there you go.
I need to.
Ashley, just want to check, you saw the comments with the donation in there in the chat.
Oh my gosh, what have we got there? Oh my gosh. Age of Madness. I think I'm getting some predictions here. One, thank you for that. That's the most generous thing in the world. But I'm thinking next year, if we have this conversation again, guys, that Age of Madness might be taking over, because the things I am hearing about this trilogy, and Joanna mentioned the Age of Madness trilogy when we did our talk on dark books, David. Mm-hmm. Have you read Age of Madness, David?
Yeah, it's amazing. I quibble with it. I think that the standalones are better, but I mean, everything that is written in that world is great.
Oh, yeah. I can't wait to read and review it. Thank you so much. That's so generous. Oh my goodness.
I've got two things to say, guys. The first thing is Trip Eddie. If you like, I'll send you my PayPal. I'm more than happy to. But the second thing, Ashley.
Yes.
I liked Assassin's Quest more than Ship of Destiny.
Oh my!
I did, and I know how unusual that is, but I love that book to death.
No. I love this. We love a range of reading experiences. I will say, I think if I went back and reread, I would appreciate a lot more what Hob was doing. The one thing that really held me back, I think, in my experience of Assassin's Quest is I listened to the audio, and I might be the only one, but I feel like they are notoriously not the strongest of audiobooks, the Realm of the Elderlings ones. And I think that does stand for it. I really struggled with the audio. So I think that it might have been impacted by that as well.
I would agree with that. I think audiobooks very much do change your perspective on certain books. I often find that when I'm starting to give up on a book, I might use an Audible credit so I can get to the end. But kind of put it on the back burner, so to speak, do it while walking or do it while doing dishes. So yeah, I just thought that Assassin's Quest, it's slow, it's languorous, it's ponderous, everyone's frustrating. And I'm very much aware that it might also be for me. I was on a really great holiday when I was reading it. I was in Tbilisi, and I'm just wandering these streets and these coffee shops and reading this book. So like definitely context affected me. But I loved that journey. I love how weird that final book was. It was so mental.
It was weird.
Yeah.
What we got here? I adore Tawny Man, Fool's Errand, Goldfield, Perfect Books. I agree. But prefer Live Ships as series. Abby and I spoke about this quite a lot. We feel that Tawny Man was pretty much, you couldn't fault it. Her writing was just phenomenal. Mm-hmm. So we would agree with you on that one, David. So yeah, there we go. Okay. Right, what was question 2? Let me have a little look and see what question 2 was. So question 2 was, new favourite series that you started but did not finish.
I gotta go back to my notes here.
Check
I jotted down just to make sure. Yeah.
I can go first if you guys like. I can go first.
Go, David.
I've got this one too. I'm going to run out of books soon.
Oh, he's got his props.
I've got my props.
Is that the Pillars of the Earth?
It is the Pillars of the Earth. Did you ever watch, Ashley, this is very British of me, did you ever watch Peep Show, the TV show Peep Show? Did you see the one where he's going on a date? He's like, I'm not like you, I'm not handsome, I need my props.
I actually recently watched it again. Yes.
Yeah. I love having a booktuber to be British with. Pillars of the Earth is Jake, you have to watch Peep Show. Right, anyway, Pillars of the Earth by Ken Follett, I think so it's technically a series of 6 books, but they're all standalone because they're all set in a fictional town called Kingsbridge. And every book, I believe, is set 200 years or so after the one before. So there's huge generational skips between these books. I mean, they're essentially standalones. And I read Pillars of the Earth in conjunction with Nikhil from Shelf Esteem. And I think our discussion on it is going to come out in the next couple of days. It's recorded. It's good to go. And I had a really fabulous time with Nikhil talking about this book. When you look at this cover, it looks like the most classical, fancy, literary tome. It looks like something that you would have to study and annotate. It's not. It is fun and fast and a bodice ripper at times. It's quite a how can I say, it's a naughty little book at times. Little is the exception there. It's so good and such a page turner. And I do have flaws with it. There's a scene in the first 100 pages that I think is egregiously bad. And there are some questionable decisions about the antagonist character. And there are definitely some essay scenes that are undeserved and don't really, I think, serve much for the plot. There are flaws. But in terms of just the book I started, and I whisked through these 1,000 pages, and I finished it, and I immediately just bought book 2. I went onto Amazon, bought book 2, and it came in the post the next day. And I think that's the marker of a good book, right? When you finish it and immediately, even if you're not going to get to book 2 soon, you want to hold it in your hands like a baby. And that's what I did with Pillars of the Earth, and that's why it's here.
I love that.
Yeah, that's my answer.
I've been because I've said you've spoken about it quite a lot, and yeah, Nikhil obviously you've been reading it together, but has spoken, but you've both just completely sold it to
Yes.
me.
It's really good. And you know what? Talking about audiobooks, I think it would make a great audiobook journey.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Interesting.
It's although I will say something, I feel very silly for saying it, but I'm surprised that Nikhil mentions a lot that it's one of the best-selling novels. I hadn't heard of it until you guys spoke about it on your channels.
I mean, it seems to be something that one of these booktube books that sort of transcends the sci-fi fantasy space, like Lonesome Dove would be another one. I know that Perdido Street Station is kind of speculative fiction, but it feels almost more like alternate world to me. I haven't read it, but that's my understanding. These books that sort of are so famous that they get themselves into the booktube sci-fi fantasy space anyway. And it seems to be the case with Pillars of the Earth. It's something like 130 million copies sold or something like that.
Wow.
Yeah.
Crazy. Yeah. I'd like to check it out at some point. Even for no other reason than to compare it to the Heaven Tree. Because that was why I read the Heaven Tree, is Janie was like, dude, you got to read that one. It's better. So,
and interestingly, Nikhil, sorry to cut you off, Nikhil made, I think, this one number 3, and he made the Heaven Tree number 2 on his top 10 books of the year. So they're very close, but apparently that book did squeak it. Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah.
I love it. But I do want to read it, though. It's like no one has a bad thing to say about that book, right?
What about you,
Joe? It's another obvious one, I think. Started but not finished, gotta be Wars of Light and Shadow. We're got about halfway through the series, and it was one of those that once I read book 1, I was like, this has to be on my top 10 series at somewhere, just book 1 of 11. And then by the time I finished book 3, I was like, this is top 3 already. And then book 4 I liked even more. Book 5 I liked even more. By all accounts, book 6 is going to be my new favorite. Like, it's just, I was talking with Shay about this yesterday. I've never had a series where every book became my new favorite of the series. And I'm really curious that, like, if that continues through all 11 of these books, like, I don't even know what to say about that. That's unbelievable. So, but it's just the attention to detail, the amount of care that went into, I mean, the series was written over like 30 years, right? And you can see how important it was to Janie to like make everything be very genuine and very real. Like all the stuff with horses, like she grew up, she's an expert with horses, and you can tell on the page. You can tell that she has experience as a first responder and dealing with traumatic injury and like managing all the panic that goes around with that. The way that she writes magic just blows my mind. I just, every time it's on the page, I can't deal with what's happening. And the characters are so real, and I always say it has like Tolkien level world building, but doesn't get the appreciation that Tolkien does. Like down to like everything is named, every person, every place, it's named for a specific reason. And the glossary in the back of the book shows you the etymology of everything. It's named for this because it's the root word of this from this language, which means this. And it's like, it's the depth is, it's so deep, but it's still really easy to follow along with somehow. Like the heavy lifting is in book 1 when you're getting introduced to a bunch of things, but then she just layers in. Book 2, you get another layer. Book 3, you get another layer. Book 4, another. So now in book 6, it's like, this is so insanely complicated, but I can follow it so easily because of the way that she's introduced things. I don't know. It's been like the perfect series for me so far. So
can I just chime in and say Jake was borderline late to this call. I hope you don't mind me saying so, Jake.
Not at all.
It's like my time 10:28, 2 minutes before. He's like, "Hi guys, I'm really sorry. I got lost in time reading book 6 of the Wars of Light and Shadow." So not to throw you to the wolves, but I think it's true. Evidence is what you were saying. I think
yeah,
you were that
big things. Yeah, big things are happening. It's like her prose is just so unique and gorgeous and just fun to read. Just the words on the page, and it's I don't know. It's just, I could say endless amazing things about it.
The way you describe it, though, it makes it almost sound like you're almost having like this kind of physical experience when you're reading it as well. It sounds like, I think if I say intense, it sounds negative, but I don't mean that in that way. The way you talk about it and how other people have spoken about it as well, it just sounds incredible. You do seem to really have quite an intense like experience while.
Yeah. the number of times I've had like goosebumps reading something, like it's John Talking Story always says transportive is the word he uses, and I think that's a really perfect word, that like you're just immediately in a different time and place and headspace, just everything is different, and then you like finish a chapter and you're just like, oh wait, we're back in the real world. It's strange.
Wow.
It's
I
great.
need to get to it. I need to get to it.
I have book one. It's like this thick.
They're not small.
No.
They're not small, and they're like, the way that she writes sort of demands that you slow down, because otherwise you'll just miss words, and like her words are chosen very specifically. So it's like if you miss a word, you're going to miss the meaning of something a little bit. You'll still understand generally what's happening, but like to get the most out of everything, you got to like you don't have to study it and take notes or whatever, right? You can follow it, but you do have to pay attention and slow down. Just, yeah, Alara, yeah. Yeah. So it's one of those that like you cannot just skim it and sort of be halfway in. You have to really be dedicated in there.
But I love what you said about the fact that you forget that you're reading, because for me that is the thing that either makes a book worthwhile or is damning if it's the other way around. I mean, we all have to study these classics, or in school we have to read these books, and we can appreciate them for being good, but we're aware we're on page 23 in paragraph 2, and we've got 50 more pages to go before we can get out the classroom. And now I get to do that to children, so that's wonderful. But the best kind of a book is one where you forget you're reading. And when you're reading for pleasure, the worst kind of a book is one where you are fully aware that you are looking at words on a page. And I don't want to name authors and go down that route, but yeah, what you're saying very much is in accordance with how I feel about the best of books.
Yeah. 100%.
Amazing. David, if you ever do want to pick it up, maybe I could pick it up at the same time as you, because I feel like I might need my hand held for this one potentially.
We're going to hold hands and skip through Janny Wirtz's literary stuff together. That's fine. Yes, let's do that. Good.
There you go.
Yeah.
Oh, someone just joined. It's Jake.
Of course.
Are you talking about Janny Wirtz again?
If you see my eyes light up, odds are I'm talking about Janny Wirtz. Yes.
Yes, he is, and always will be. Fantastic. Okay. What was? Oh, I need to. Answer
you need to do it. Yeah.
I do. Right. Okay. I had a couple of options for this. One option was Joe Abercrombie in terms of First Law. Started it this year, absolutely adoring it. But then my other option, which I'm probably going to talk about, what is Sun Eater. I started Sun Eater in 2025, and I am loving it. I am loving it. It's great. So I was nervous. I was really apprehensive about starting Sun Eater because I was a bit concerned that it might be a bit too above me. I thought I wouldn't understand it. I thought it would be a bit too, I don't know, a bit too intense. Maybe I wasn't intelligent enough to read it, but I didn't have any problems with it at all. So that fear went out the window straight away. And I just have these moments of reading some passages that Rocchio writes where they make me, Abby, I've spoken about it on here before, Abby calls it floor time, where you want to just go and lay and just stare at the ceiling just to process what's being said. And I feel like that when I read Sun Eater. He has these passages that talk about what it's like to be a person living in that kind of world, which is so different to what we live, but it's so relevant as well and relatable. And I have a mini existential crisis every few chapters. So for that reason, I'm going to go with Sun Eater.
What book are you up to? Forgive me, I think you said already.
We are, I was going to say, floor time. Yes, Abby. We are, Andrew and I are up to book 5, I believe, which is Ashes of Man. So I've just started Ashes of Man. And this is one that I've heard, I think I heard Talking Story. It might have been, I was a bit late catching up to their video, but they said there's quite a lot of lore dropped into this one. I don't know if Jake, if that sounds about right.
Yeah, I think, yeah, it's sort of the progression, I think, right? Like book 2, things open up a little bit. Book 3, you get some. Book 4 is like, whoa, okay, that's what's happening. And then book 5 is sort of just, you continue that and then book 6 continues. So it kind of, that trend will continue. Yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, book 4 that we just finished. Yeah, Kingdoms of Death. That was. I can see why the title is the title. Wow.
Yeah.
I think Andrew and I would just message most days like, "What is happening? What is going on?"
Fun fact: I was talking to Brian from Belltube. He's already read book 6 of Light and Shadow, called Peril's Gate, and he was like, "Anybody who really likes Kingdoms of Death is gonna really love Peril's Gate." And I was like, "What are you saying, Brian? What do you mean?"
Before we move on, Ashley, can I have a 60-second therapy session with you?
Yes.
Because, and it's your therapy, not my therapy.
Okay.
That's the second time in 5 minutes you said something along the lines of, "I don't think I'm able to understand this book." And I want to hold you to account, because I think you absolutely are masterful at discussing books, and I don't think you need to worry about that at all. And I see Jake nodding, so that's the mini therapy session out of the way.
Thank you. I needed that.
Yeah.
I'm so glad we had this talk. I feel a lot better.
We can end now.
Yeah, there we go. No, I think I think it comes from me over analyzing maybe what other people have said. And if some people have sort of said, a few aspects were a bit too difficult to get into, if I think myself that person is, if I think, oh crikey, they're really intelligent, if struggling with it, then maybe I'm probably going to be 10 times worse. But actually it might not be as much that. It might just be that it wasn't hitting for them at the right time and things like that. But yeah, I do need to start being a bit more positive in just not worrying about my own issues around whether I'm intelligent enough to read a book. I need to stop being silly. I'm sorry if I'm earning as next.
I think we all feel it. We all feel it, and it's understandable going into books with trepidation. I think, and I'm actually making a video on this right now. I think confusion when you're reading a book is like it's a response, just like finding it funny or finding it scary or finding whatever. Like finding something confusing is a legitimate response that can often very much not be the reader's fault. Sometimes it can be the author's fault, and sometimes it's no one's fault and it's purposeful. So yeah, it's a hobby horse I'm on right now. Yeah.
That was a big experience I had with the new Sun books, is like you're supposed to be confused sometimes, and it's supposed to be like, what the heck is happening? But then later you sort of figure it out later, or maybe you don't. Yeah, but whatever.
You get that.
Once you read it for the 5th time, you'll understand what's happening.
Yeah,
that's what they say.
And you know what? I'm a complete hypocrite, because now that you've mentioned Gene Wolfe, I have Gene Wolfe on my shelf, and every time I look at Gene Wolfe, I'm like, I'm not sure I can do this one. Yeah. So yeah, complete hypocrite.
We all need therapy.
Yep.
There you go. 30-second therapy. Okay. Question 3 is a new favorite series that you started and finished in 2025. Ooh, can I quickly go first with this one? Because I've seen a few people already actually putting this title in the chat, or right at the beginning of the chat. I'm trying to see if I can find the comments now. But a few people named the series that is mine, and it's the one that I started and finished, or should I say, am most up to date with, is the Gale Song series by Shauna Lawless. So I'm saying up to date with because there's now an era 2 to this, but this is the series from 2025 that I just blitzed through and adored, and would recommend to most people. I don't think there are many people that I would say wouldn't enjoy this series.
Yeah. Every time you talk about these on your channel, I get so excited to read it. Like, you sell these very, very well.
Maybe I should start working for Shauna. Maybe she could employ me to do some marketing for her or something, because honestly, me and Abby spoke about this quite a lot. We spoke about how she's not reinventing the wheel. She's not doing anything that's never been done before, but her execution of it is just sublime. She just doesn't miss a beat. Her writing is it's concise and to the point without being rushed. It allows, the pace is relentless. It's just boom, boom, boom. But at the same time, it allows for slow, meaningful connection and loving moments as well. I just can't. It's phenomenal. And it's also the kind of world that I love. This is a sort of historical fantasy, mythology, folklore, and then but actual Irish history as well, all woven together. And I've mentioned it before that it's very reminiscent of, if you sort of think about like the Last Kingdom, it looks a bit like that. That's what it looks like in my head. And I just adored it. I just adored it. Yes, Abby, Gaozong has something for everyone. I agree. It's just brilliant. And Abby met Shauna earlier in
Oh, cool.
her in 2025 and said that she did an amazing talk and everything like that. And honestly, I will read this woman's shopping list. She's brilliant. So
can you pitch this story for me in 30 seconds or less, or is that too much of an ask?
No, basically Ireland, Middle Ages, 10th, 11th century, lots and lots of men trying to be king in different areas at the same time. You've got two main women, female POVs. One is from a line called Fomorians, so they're fire magic wielders, but they're supposed to be they've died out, but she still exists. And then you've got another female character who is a descendant of a clan, and various descendants have different abilities. She's a healer, and they both have to hide these abilities that they have. And you see the story from both of their points of view as they kind of maneuver their way through the political situation, which is lots of different kings battling out who could be the biggest king, essentially. Nice. And it's just brilliant. It's brilliant. It's brutal. I would say Nikhil worded it very well the other day, because I think he just recently read The Children of Gods and Fighting Men book 1, and he said Shauna is on par with sort of George R.R. Martin in terms of decisions that she makes, and I would agree. She's pretty ruthless. But it's just such a great blend of political intrigue, fantasy elements. It's not convoluted in any way. It's just great.
How long are the books?
How long are they?
And how many? Are we talking this or are we talking this?
They're between 300 and 400 pages each.
Nice.
And then, so 3 novels in the first era and 3 novellas as well that go in between. You don't have to read the novellas, but they're great as well. I loved them. Yeah.
It's not like a 5,000 page commitment in a way that so many things seem to be.
No,
okay.
No.
Okay.
Honestly, such quick reads. And for me, they were such page turners. I just didn't want to put them down. I could have sat and probably read each of them in a day, individually, not all of them together. But yeah, I could have blitzed through them quicker. I was slowed down. I think all of us that were reading it, it was a group of us reading them. We were actually slowed down by the fact that we only were doing a certain amount of chapters a day. So would have gone faster maybe, but we slowed ourselves down. But yeah, you're missing out if you don't read the novellas. Abby said, I agree. But would highly recommend.
Jake?
I'm finished. Jake, I think I might know yours.
This is a hard one for me, and I was looking back at what I was reading, and it's like I think there might actually be only one series that I actually started and finished the whole year. Mm-hmm. The Kristoff vampire books were close, but I didn't quite finish it in the year. So
yeah,
I don't know. It's got to be Thomas Covenant. That's what it is. The first trilogy. There is a second trilogy, and there's actually another much later series that came out, but that first trilogy was just so special. And it's like, especially when you think about the context, right? Like these came out in like the 70s, and he was directly responding to Lord of the Rings and like some of the other things that were going on in publishing at the time. And it was just such a different, like, he really, really shook things up with like people's expectations when he made this, right? You have this just beautiful, whimsical world, whatever, and then just this horrible main character that you throw in there, and he's like the hero, and he's awful, right? And it's just, I can't say he's like my favorite character in the sense that like I connect with him a lot, and I connect with some parts of him, but I think that he is, I think, one of the most well-written characters that I've read in a while. where it's like he's so consistent and he's so realistic, and I think you can see how he got to the place that he's at, right? You can see why he's the way that he is, and the way that things play out over those 3 books was just so satisfying, right? It just really, the ending really hit me, and it was such a perfect ending. And he does different things in each of the books, and they sort of mirror Covenant's journey. Like the structure of the books mirrors his journey as a character. It's brilliant. I think he's such an amazing writer. He's like genuinely a legend, but he doesn't get talked about that much anymore. And I, for one, am trying to be part of changing that, because it's just brilliant stuff.
You've got me convinced, and you've got Abby convinced as well.
Yes. Trigger warning, to be fair, right? There is like sexual violence in book 1, but I promise it's there for a reason that makes sense within the narrative, and it's dealt with very well. From like, I think Donaldson deals with it very well. It has ramifications. It is supposed to be bad. It's supposed to be uncomfortable, and all the characters involved suffer, right? Not just the victim. So
does it get addressed? And I don't want to go into spoilers. So I've only read book 1 of Thomas Covenant, and I read it like 8 years ago, and I had a tough time. And part of that was just that I think I was expecting something a lot more smooth and easy to read, and it's not an easy read. No. And the style of the prose is also quite dense and difficult. At least I found it to be. But I'm happy to hear you say that scene that happens in the first 100 pages has ramifications, because for me, when I read book 1, it very much felt like it was out of left field and a bit incongruent, and but it continues to have kind of ripple effects, is what you're saying, Jake.
It does, and I do. As much as I want to be careful how I say this, because I'm not defending the fact that he did this, right? But I do think I do understand it, right? Like, I don't agree with it, but it does, I think, make sense logically with like the situation that he's in contrast to what he's used to, if that makes sense, right? He's going through these like really rapid changes in his environment and all this stuff, and so I think it makes sense, and it absolutely, just to directly answer you, it is addressed, and like he suffers because of it greatly psychologically, right? Like he clearly has a lot of regret and stuff like that, and I'll leave it there, right? Because there's more to it than just that, but yes. I think that will hopefully assuage some of the people who are really understandably put off by it.
Yeah. It's not as egregious as having your High King called Kevin, is it?
No, and you know what, man? We talked about this once before, and I was like, I have a theory on why his name is Kevin, and that was never addressed, and so maybe his name is just Kevin.
There's a controversial character in Malazan, Ashley, who's called Kyle. That's another one, Kyle.
Oh,
and and some people can get past it and some can't, and I'm kind of on the periphery, I guess.
Me too. I didn't like it that much.
Yeah.
That makes 2 Kyles that are villains.
True. That's right, because of course there's a Kyle in and you know what? That Kyle didn't bother me as much. So maybe I'm the problem. Maybe I'm just fickle. Because that Kyle.
Kyle.
The Kyle in Malazan is a protagonist figure, so we're with him a lot. And he's also, and maybe this is me being a bit unfair, I don't think he has the clearest, most strong personality. He feels a little bit more like a blank canvas compared to a lot of the characters in Malazan. And so I think it was those 2 things maybe in combination. Yeah, Paul and June.
I was telling Abby the other day, I haven't read June or seen the films, so I need to rectify this at some point.
You do.
So good. That movie's so good.
Whoops.
Yeah. When you finish Sun Eater, go back and read Dune. That'll be really cool.
Okay, that's a good idea.
Another big influence. Yeah.
Is the worst. Yes, Kyle is the worst. David. He's
the worst. Anyway, yeah. It's the letter K that seems to do something to people, apparently.
Definitely the letter K.
Yeah.
David,
can I give you my answer, and I'll be fast?
Do you have a prop?
I do, and they require a lot of upper body strength.
Oh my gosh. Workout.
So this is the only thing I started and finished in 2025. I'm very much with you, Jake.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna have to use my head. Can you hear me? This is the Showa series by Shigeru Mizuki. And it's no one is going to care about this except me. But I saw these in a bookstore here in Tokyo, and they're expensive. This one was expensive. That's what I'll say. There's 4 volumes of these, and these are autobiographical histories of Japan in the Showa era, which is 1926, I believe, through the 1980s. So these 4 manga volumes cover what Japan was like in those kind of 50, 60 years period. And this is when Japan went from fascism to Hello Kitty, right? So for me, it's a very interesting experience. And especially because for me, I've lived here the last 10 years and I really wanted to broaden my perspective on what Japan was like historically. Because, I moved here for the first time in 2015 and I have been coasting here, and I go to the convenience store, and I've read a smattering of Japanese literature, but I'm like, I need to know what this country was like 100 years ago up until the present day, and I feel like I really very much didn't have that knowledge. So this book is, I'll see if I can open it up to a random page that hopefully is fairly, yeah. So it kind of looks like this. It's very old manga style. I don't know if you can see this whatsoever. Shigeru Mizuki was one of the original kind of manga artists, is my understanding. And so the book is not just a fictional, a non-fictional recount of the last 100 years of Japan. It's also his autobiography at the same time. So he writes about himself going into war and having to fight in, forgive me, I think it's Papua New Guinea or maybe Palau. And he recounts his whole experience doing the war from the Japanese perspective and the chaos of World War II. And then what happened at the end of World War II when the emperor had to basically tell people publicly that he is not a god. He is just a regular human being like everyone else. So I love this series for several reasons. And I don't know if I'd recommend it. I mean, it's quite niche. But for me, it gave me a window into a manga that not many people have read. It gave me a window into Japan in the last 100 years. And it also, I was very fascinated hearing this man's story, kind of growing up in poverty, actually getting his arm blown off in World War II, and then becoming one of the most successful mangaka ever with one arm. So it was an amazing experience, and I think I would have chosen it even if it wasn't the only thing I'd read start to finish this year.
Yeah, that's super cool.
It's really cool.
Yeah, Japan's so interesting to me. My entry point was anime, obviously, but like you see, I don't just, I'm one of those people who likes all the genres of anime, including like slice of life and all that kind of stuff. And so whenever you get a glimpse of like just seeing Japan, I'm like, this is so interesting. I've talked to you about this. It's a bucket list thing for me to visit someday and all that kind of stuff. So like, yeah, for sure. It's the flight, man. It's a long flight. Yeah. But yeah, I think anytime I learn about history or the folklore or anything like that, it's so interesting. So those would be cool to pick up at some point.
The flights go both ways. Like I'm looking for flights back to see my family at some point. And when you got a family of 4,
ooh, yeah,
someone's gonna have to sit on the wing.
And
it'll be my daughter because she'll hold on and she'll have a manic grin the whole time. So yeah,
perfect.
That's really perfect. Cool.
Andy Smith came to visit a couple months ago.
Yeah.
So hopefully more booktubers will come and have a pilgrimage to my apartment.
For sure. I mean, it's such a destination, right? Like people, I've never heard anybody say that they went and visited Japan and hated it, right?
Yeah.
So it's definitely, it's got to happen at some point.
It's on my list. Me and my partner are talking about it a lot at the moment. Yeah.
Very cool.
The yen's cheap, which is good for you and not for me, but it's a good time to come. Yeah.
Making this happen. I like this. I'm getting some really good range. And I like that you said that it would have been a pick even if it wasn't the one that only the one you started and finished.
I think so. Yeah.
Question number 4. Favorite new author discovered. I'm gonna have to look at my notes. Oh, okay. I know I had 3 for this one, but obviously I've narrowed it down. But I'm just going to really quickly say mine, which is I would have been choosing between Shauna Lawless or Joe Abercrombie, but I'm not going to go for either of those because I've already spoken about them both briefly. Mine is ML Wong.
Good pick.
Because I read both Blood Over Brighthaven and Sword of Kaigen both in 2025, and honestly, they are just phenomenal. They are just phenomenal. I think I read Blood Over Brighthaven in February 2025, and I have not thought about it every day since. Nearly a year ago. So, and Sword of Kaigen was just beautiful, heartbreaking but beautiful. But I think there are so many fantasy standalones out there, but not many that I knew of, and I just think the talent that it takes to be able to fully build a world, create incredible characters, a plot, all of these things, a political system,
Yes.
a magic system, all of these things, to be able to create those and do so in a way that you as a reader feel so connected and so invested in it, but be able to do that in maybe 400 pages.
Yes.
That absolutely blows my mind, the skill that someone has to do that. So that's why I've picked ML1, because I just think it's amazing what series can do, you know, having so many books and a lot of pages, but even then some of them I don't think always earn their pages. Whereas the fact, looking at it on the flip side, that she can do all of that in such a small amount of pages and it be so efficient that I'm actually begging for there to be more. I think that's such a skill. To leave your readers wanting more is pretty impressive. So ML1 for me in 2025.
I've only read Blood Over Brighthaven. I've not read Sword of Kaigen. Jake, I forget what you've...
I haven't done either.
Huh.
I know.
Change it.
Yeah. I'll love it, I'm sure.
Ashley, this is an awkward question to ask in case the answer is no, but did you watch the video I did a few weeks ago on preachy books and morals in books? Because I spoke about Blood Over Brighthaven a little bit.
Yeah.
And I find it such an interesting case study because it is, I would probably say, one of the preachiest books I've read. Although I fully agree with the messaging, but it's very didactic. But it doesn't really bother me because I think it pulls everything off quite effortlessly. And I know there's a range of opinion on Blood Over Brighthaven, but when I read it, I want to reiterate everything you said. I thought, I kind of call it a clockwork watch of a book. It does everything fantastically, or it's like it's tap dancing in a cupboard. Like it does all this amazing stuff in such a short, confined space. And I also found that very admirable. So, yeah.
Yeah. I think a lot of people, I noted that a lot of people had sort of said it was very on the nose. You know, it's a lot of people have sort of said it doesn't really, it holds your hand. It doesn't let the reader find these things for themselves. And I understand that. But like you say, it didn't bother me at all. It didn't bother me. I just thought it was just done so well in such a gripping way. I couldn't fault it. I can't fault her. I think she is a fantastic author. And I'm really jealous that Andrew Brother Grimdark met her randomly at a bookshop last year. She's a genius. And yes, it is, necessarily preachy. I agree.
I really do want to read Sword of Kaigen. I hear that it does interesting things with structure. And the climax happening halfway is what everyone seems to say, which is fascinating.
I had heard this as well, and I was a bit nervous about that. But Abby and I, we buddy read it with our friend Joanna, and we all said the same thing, that actually her choosing that structure was bold, but we felt it really paid off because it gave an opportunity that not a lot of other books do, I don't think, in terms of often you have the big climax and then it's kind of wrapped up in the last 10%, and whereas she didn't do that. She gave you time to sit in the aftermath of something and actually see what happens and the process after, and sit with the emotions of it, which I don't think many other books do. And I really appreciated that. So yeah, that's mine.
Nice.
Who's up?
Can I do this one quite quickly? Because I have like 3 or 4 authors, but I didn't actually start that many new authors this year. And the ones that I did, I kind of want to give them all equal spotlight. So like, I'm trying to think of an example. I've got J.L. Odom down here, By Blood, by Salt was really good. And I want to get to that for a later question. Von Roycroft's stuff is really interesting, and I'm really looking forward to getting to the end of his trilogy next month. Adrian M. Gibson, Mushroom Blues. It's really nice seeing the kernel of a new kind of universe happening, and I love all the stuff he's doing with that. I'm going to go for, and this is cheating, because I've read 100 pages of this author. So hang on. I'm choosing KJ Parker, and I'm cheating because I've barely read 100 pages of the dude. Alan from Library of Alexandria recommended a novella called Purple and Black to Mia and Joanna after we did something on Joanna's channel. And I read it in the following few days and thought it was one of the tightest, funniest little novellas, but brutal at the same time. It was like Joe Abercrombie meets Terry Pratchett. That's what this novel was like, or novella. And so, although I've only read 100 pages of it, Like, does that not sell you on the premise? Oh, Terry Pratchett meets Joe Abercrombie. It was so good. It was so good. It was so good. It was so good. And so I immediately, well, I say immediately, 6 months later, when I've moved to Japan and got myself settled, I actually bought my next KJ Parker book. These are hard to find. It's really hard to find physical copies of KJ Parker because he doesn't seem to be that popular. But the one thing I was bemoaning the fact that Japan is much more expensive to live in and the yen is weaker. It seems easier to find KJ Parker books in Japan. When I look at Amazon Japan versus Amazon UK, it's like half the price. The other author who's like this is, oh, what's he called? He wrote A Boy's Life. He wrote Swan Song. Robert McCammon.
McCammon, yeah.
He's horrendously expensive. I don't know if you've tried to buy one of his books. They're like 40 quid for like a paperback that looks like this. Anyway, side tangent. I went and I bought a physical copy of KJ Parker. And I then messaged Alan to say, I bought another KJ Parker book. And he said, which one? And I said, it's called Colors in the Steel. And he said, that's his worst one. Don't read it. So, but I have it. And you know what? If it's not this one, I am excited at some point in this year to read a little bit more KJ Parker. Because what he did in those 100 pages, while keeping it relatively light and flowing, was very well done. So KJ Parker is my answer. And he is someone who is not on a solid TBR, but certainly an author that I do want to prioritize somewhere.
Love that.
Very nice. Yeah, very nice.
And I've not read Tales of Lisa. Yeah.
Amazing.
Well, mine can be relatively quick also, I think, because I've touched on a handful of, I'm gonna cheat like you guys did and mention a couple also. Yeah, I also really like J.L. Odom stuff. I thought that book was great. Excited to get to book 2 at some point. I don't know when that can happen, but I do want to read it. I liked Edith Pargeter stuff with the Heaven Tree. All for Jackals. Edith Pargeter stuff with the Heaven Tree blew me away. I'm becoming a really, really big P.L. Stewart fan with the Drowned Kingdom books. Book 2 is just phenomenal. I talked about Donaldson, how he's just a genius and a legend. This is a really difficult choice for me between Jay Kristoff and Gene Wolfe, who couldn't be more different in their styles. I think ultimately, if I have to pick one, I'm probably going to go with Gene Wolfe, just because I cannot get this out of my head. Not just the story, but the layers, and like, this is by far the most rereadable thing I've ever come across. People say you do not read Gene Wolfe, you only reread Gene Wolfe. And I think that that's true. In my experience so far, that like, I literally, so we finished the 4-book series. I went back and I read sentence number 1 of book 1. And it literally is hinting at like this massive reveal you get at the very end. And it just, I need to plug my laptop in so it doesn't die. But Gene Wolfe's my answer. He's brilliant. And it's just, I can't believe how good he is. And I want to read everything he's ever written. I'm going to plug my laptop in.
You know, Jake, I'm sitting on 33%, and I'm also going to have to do that at some point. So don't worry.
I love this. All right, okay. I'm going to be brave one day and pick up Book of the New Sun. I'm going to do it. I'm going to be brave.
There's other books too, Ashley. It's people pitch book. No, the people pitch Book of the New Sun. You got to get through these 4 books. Apparently, the dude's written like a whole quartet after that as well,
and another trilogy after that.
Right? Oh, really?
Yeah.
So there's like 12 of these bad boys.
Oh, we've got a whole host to choose from.
Yeah. Book of the Long Sun, or sorry, Book of the New Sun. Book of the Long Sun is a quartet that's after that, and then Book of the Short Sun is a trilogy at the very end. And apparently, they're all interconnected. And then he also has a bunch of short stories, a bunch of standalone books. He's got like some kind of military fantasy series, like based on this soldier. He's got all kinds of stuff. So I'm sure Sam can probably give you a great recommendation about like a standalone to start with or something.
You know, speaking of Samwise, and I hope he won't mind me saying this, when I kind of lightly bounced off Empire of Silence, he sent me a voice message and he said, David, listen, your opinion of Empire of Silence is what it is. Please don't throw Gene Wolfe out at the same time. He was like, you have to read Gene Wolfe. He said, I respect your opinion about Empire of Silence. I hope you read book 2, but I earnestly implore you to read Shadow of the Torturer, his book 1, right?
Right.
So, and I said, yes, I will, and I still haven't. But I did remember that. So
I do think you would like it. Ashley, I think you'd really like the tone, especially. It's very dark and gothic, the atmosphere.
Ooh,
it's very,
that's so good.
It's cool. Yeah.
Okay, I'm sold. Love this. Okay, what are we? Oh, this is a fun one. I've been looking forward to this one because I want to hear what you guys say for this one. Question number 5, favorite new character.
Oh,
Again, I'm cheating. It's our, like, I just think it's our video. We make the rules. It's fine.
yeah.
I'm just going to list a few, and I hope everybody will understand. Speaking of from ML Wong, I picked Misaki from Sword of Kaigen, one of the best female characters I've ever read. I think she was just phenomenal. What she has to go through, and how she fiercely protects her family. I just thought she was brilliant. I also wrote down, I cheated because I wrote down a live ship from Live Ship Traders, but I can't talk about a favorite new character without talking about the live ship Paragon. I don't want to spoil it for anybody, but I never thought I'd care about a ship so much, and I do. So I don't know what that says about me, but I love Paragon.
We should just clarify, Ashley, that for Jake, maybe he doesn't know, the ships are alive.
Yeah.
Not all of them, but some of them are.
Okay.
Paragon is my favorite. The Fool also, from just Realm of the Elderlings in general. I just adore that character so much. And for multiple reasons. But I also had to put a cheeky one in there because the other one seems so emotional and heartfelt. This one is not that at all, but I really love Logan Ninefingers from First Law.
Great character.
Yeah.
I just think he's brilliant. I just think he's absolutely brilliant. I've never every time I would listen to like a slight part, because obviously the narration for the First Law is just brilliant in terms of the audio. And every time his voice, Stephen Pace's voice, him was in my ears. I just was just hooked. I love, oh gosh, how do I say it? He's so unassuming. He just comes across as so simple in every aspect, but there's just so many layers to him, and I think he's brilliant. So that's.
Do you read Logan Ninefingers as, because this is a whole discussion that I didn't realize existed? Do you guys read Logan Ninefingers as demon possessed or just an absolute rager of a man?
Ooh,
it's an interesting question. I've always thought of him as just sort of like berserker.
Yeah,
kind of goes crazy, but that's an interesting interpretation, though.
Well, the reason I bring it up is apparently if you go back and read book 1, and I haven't. I'm just piggybacking off the ideas of other people. But apparently, if you read book 1, it very much feels like he is being taken over by an otherworldly entity. And then as you go on in the books, it feels more and more like, no, he's just a very angry dude who needs to go to therapy. So I wonder if that's Abercrombie literally just changing his mind midstream, or what. But apparently, if you do go back to book 1, there is certainly an undertone of being consumed by something that's not just rage.
Interesting.
He's as I've read on and on, he does seem to be a lot more aware of this part of him, and anticipates it a lot more, which is interesting. But I always kind of very much saw it as because of when it appears, it almost did seem very hulky. You know, it's just in that moment of rage that it just takes over. But that's a good question. That's a really good question. Demon possession would be a cop out anyway. True.
Yeah, it kind of takes away the personal responsibility and the accountability, doesn't it? Yeah.
Also, just to quickly answer this, I'm not skipping Sharp Ends. I've got Sharp Ends, so this is the short story collection, isn't it, for First Law? I'm doing the buddy read of Age of Madness with Liam, and we have decided that we're going to put a little Sharp Ends short story in between.
Oh, nice.
We're going to kind of intersperse them. So no, not skipping. We'll be reading it sort of throughout Age of Madness. But yes, I'm going to say those 4, but mainly Logan Ninefingers because I just adore him.
You need to read Sharp Ends. Jake, have you read Sharp Ends?
Not yet. I still have. I read Best Served Cold with Ashley and Andrew that we mentioned earlier. That's the only of the thing that I've read outside the original trilogy, so I have a lot to go yet.
The only glimmer of positivity and hope in all of First Law happens in Sharp Ends. There's one story that's just nice, and what's the word? It's uplifting. And in all the carnage that is First Law and people striving and then failing and then striving and then failing, you have this one little scene that I think a lot of people need to read, just because it's quite cathartic.
Oh, I'm excited for this. Okay.
Yeah, I like that.
Great.
Yeah.
Favorite
Jake?
character?
Jake?
Me to go?
Yep.
So I also have, I jotted down a list of these because I was trying to narrow down and pick one, and it's so hard because there's just some. I mentioned Covenant earlier and how much I appreciate how it's written, even though it's not like my favorite person. I think Severian from Book of the Sun is similar. That he's also not a good person, but just the way that he's written is so impressive and interesting. He's such like I think he was a big inspiration for Hadrian being as introspective as he is, and as philosophizing as he is. So Severian was really great. Obviously, I have to mention Arathon from the Wars of Light and Shadows, a huge one. Ashley will appreciate my utter obsession with Astrid, and begrudgingly also Phoebe. I've come around. They're both amazing. I want them both in my life. Or,
Same. I'll fight you.
Yeah. But they're just amazing character. When I think about what character I like had the most fun with and really connected with the most emotionally, I kind of have to go with Gabe. I think I have to do Gabriel from the vampire books.
Sad boy Gabe.
He's a sad boy, but like he still has hope every now and then, at least. And we explore so much. Like we talked about this in our chats a lot, Ashley, with like how much they explore faith and like family and fatherhood and loss and duty. Like there's so many things that you explore through his eyes, and he's so like he's a tough guy with a lot of like layers around him, but he's also so vulnerable at the same time somehow. And I just really appreciated that, and I felt so connected with him the whole way through. So and through him, I got to experience Astrid and Phoebe and these other characters, which is fun. So I'll leave it there. Yeah, but yeah, I got to go with Gabe. He's the man.
Love that. Love that.
David,
I have no idea who any of these people are, but
you got to read Empire of the Vampire, bro. You got to read it. Read it alone.
Listen, I know you're both mega fans. Do you think more pointed question? Do you think I would like it?
Do you know what? I'm actually not sure.
I'm not sure either, to be honest. I think there are things in there you would like for sure.
Yes.
Like, I think some of the themes you'd really like. Some of the adventure aspects of it, I think you'd really be into. There's some stuff that, like, if you didn't grow up going to Hot Topic and like that sort of thing, you might think it's a little corny.
Okay.
So I don't know. I'm very on the fence, to be honest.
Yeah, I'm on the fence.
At some point, yeah. Sorry, Ashley, I cut you off.
No. I'm on the fence as well. I think there are some aspects that you would really like. I think with what Jake said about Gabe as a character and some of the choices, but yeah, I don't know. It's not a book that I would naturally say you need to read.
The covers are great. Whenever I see these covers, I'm like, man,
they're cool.
Yeah.
They're fantastic.
How do you feel about smut, David? This is the real question.
Listen. Did I not just say that this is the horniest book I've read all year, and it's by a man who's now in his 70s? So I'm not averse to it. Do you know what I mean? I can't see this on my own channel, so I'm taking liberties. Much like many characters in this book. Look, I'm not averse to it. It wouldn't turn me off necessarily, but it's not something I go seeking for.
Okay, that's fair. Yeah.
To be fair, I would say the same though. Generally, I wouldn't say I care for it in books normally. But there is just something about the way that J. Christoph writes it where it actually seems quite romantic.
Yeah.
Like actually quite romantic and very intimate, but he doesn't overdo it. It's a paragraph, or something like that. It's very understated, and I think that's what I appreciate about it.
Do you guys ever do that thing? Sorry, I'll let you finish it off.
You could take it away and the book would still be, you see what I mean? But it does add something. It's not there for the sake of it.
Yes.
Do you guys ever do that thing where you're reading a book on a bus or in public and you get to a certain page and so you're like,
yeah, there's illustrations in these books.
You assume that everyone has been like the words have like floated off the pages and everyone's like, look what he's reading.
Yeah. I mean, there's a picture of a naked vampire lady in this book, so you got to be a little careful.
Yeah, I am. I re-listened to it in 2025 and listened to the audio, and I was full on blushing. I was in the gym, and I had to turn it to. I had to put Spotify on instead. I had to listen to music because I was like, I can't. This is too much. I was trying to like. I mean, it probably was the best scenario because I was already like flushed and sweating, but it just wasn't a good moment to be in public listening to that. I was like, oh my gosh, everybody knows, everybody can tell what I'm listening to right now. Yeah, I get really like I have to turn it off.
Thankfully, I try my best not to leave my house anymore, so I don't have this problem so much. But yeah, in days past. My favorite character, can I double dip? Can I go back to the Warrior Prophet? I'm going to keep this short because I want it to be quite vague. Because spoilers. There's a character called Kellis in the Second Apocalypse series, and he's one of the main characters, and he is fascinating to me. And he's fascinating to me because he is incredibly clever. Beyond any kind of capacity that anyone in the world today would be. But he's not just intelligent, he's also emotionally and socially intelligent. If he is talking to someone and if he's interacting with someone, the slight movement of a muscle will signal to Kellis what the other person is thinking. But here's the thing, Kellis is a terrible human being. So it's more complicated than that. But basically, whatever information he reads from people, he then manipulates to his own ends. He's almost like some kind of mashup of an otherworldly being, or even Jesus to some extent. And at the same time, he's a villain. I mean, he's often portrayed in very villainistic terms, but we're getting his POV. And I have never read a character like this. And I'm really trying to dance around it because I really do think these books have literary merit, if nothing else. It's so fascinating to be inside that guy's head, because he views all of us as bugs, pretty much. And yet when we get someone else's POV and they approach Kellis, we see him as this almost divine spiritual being who is wise and says whatever they need to hear to become better versions of themselves. We get both at the same time. And yes, I know, I've got 3 books to go, but Kellis for me is the most, I used that word magnetic twice in terms of Second Apocalypse. I continue to use that word magnetic. And I think that word magnetic gets to its epicenter with that character called Kellis. I haven't experienced any character like him before. And he's terrible. And I love seeing him on the page. So that's my answer.
But sometimes it is the terrible characters that are the most compelling, because when very controversially, it's not a favorite character, but adding to that, you mentioned earlier, Kenneth from Live Ships is not
kind of similar, to be honest. Yeah.
That's
an interesting comparison. Yeah.
An awful character inherently, but yet so compelling to read. And I've never read a character like him. Not good at all, but wow, yeah. So no, I can relate to that. I understand that a lot.
But Kenneth's very similar, and I want to avoid spoilers here for Live Ships as well. But when other people approach Kenneth, and other POVs which we are experiencing approach Kenneth, they often see him as this swashbuckling, heroic, noble man. And then we get back inside of his head, and we're like, stop, he's foul. And I love having both of those at the same time. Yeah, I
agree. Love it. Cool. Brilliant.
Very cool.
I'm loving learning about all of these new characters as well. Question number 6 was favorite new release. I'll go really quickly with this one. I'm just gonna say there's 2. Daughter of the Other World by Shauna Lawless. So the next era of Gale Song. She released it. I was very lucky to get a slightly early e-arc. It was brilliant.
Nice.
It was brilliant. She was flawless. She was fantastic. I didn't think the series could get any better. She just continues to get better. I don't know how it's possible, but I loved that. But also, I do have to say Empire of the Dawn by Jay Kristoff. It was one of my most highly anticipated reads of 2025, and I think the man's a genius.
I'm jealous of you getting an e-arc.
I did request it. I was like,
well, listen, I requested Operation Bounce House by Matt Dinniman, who wrote the Dungeon Crawler Carl stuff, and I didn't get it, which is fine. But literally everyone else I know who's asked for a copy of Operation Bounce House has gotten one. So bounced off me. To be fair, I have been slating one of his books for the last 3 months, Kaiju Battlefield Surgeon. but still, I would have appreciated it. So anyway, I'm not entitled to anything, but I feel like I would have appreciated it. So I'm jealous of your experience.
No, I felt very, very lucky. It was great. It was really good. I just loved it. And like I say, yeah, Empire of the Dawn as well.
Yeah.
It was great. It was everything I wanted. I loved it. So yeah, those are mine. I'll go very brief with that.
I can be brief also. I think my real answer is Shadows Upon Time, obviously, right? It's my favorite book of the year. It has to also be my favorite new release. Empire of the Dawn also was awesome. I really like Discovery from J.J. Minton. I like Chance's book, Mercy, was great. Like there's been a handful of these that have been really, really good. So I do want to make sure that they get a little bit of a mention, but Shadows Upon Time overshadows all.
I was just going to quickly say I'm reading Discovery at the moment. I started it
Nice.
a couple of days ago. Yeah,
Me
I'm about.
too. Sorry.
Really?
Yeah.
I'm on about.
We'll talk about that after the stream, okay? But yeah. Okay.
But so far, amazing.
Very good. Very good.
Love that. Love it.
Bit of cosmic horror never hurt anyone. Well, I mean, hurt whole worlds, but you know.
Yeah.
I have. Sorry, Nico.
No,
you
David.
Yeah.
Go for it.
No, but you have two, right?
I said them.
Did you?
Daughters of the Otherworld and Empire of the Dawn.
Okay. Right. I'll go also very quickly. I don't read that many new releases. Do you guys read that many new releases?
Not very many. I tried to this year, and then just none of them worked out.
Like when you have a TBR list that's like a shelf long, it feels rude to go out and spend £25 on a nice hardback of a book that just got released. So I didn't actually realize until I started, compiling my responses to this list that it's not something I tend to do. I have two new releases that I read this year, as far as I can recall. I mean, maybe there were a few more, but the two that came to mind when I was responding to this. Which order will I go in? No Life Forsaken by Stephen Erickson. And I don't want to say it fell flat for me, because it absolutely did not fall flat for me. I think I was a victim of the hype train, because I think I was expecting miracles with this book, and I had it so built up in my head, because we haven't had an Erickson Malazan book for 4 years. And I remember reading it and kind of going, this just feels like Dead House Gates light. Feels like book 2 of the Malazan Book of the Fallen, without adding much extra. And I felt like we'd seen the themes before and the setting before. And it just felt like someone had, rather than giving me a new dish, had just stirred up the existing dish and presented it to me. And I know that's a catastrophically unpopular opinion, and most people seem to be loving No Life Forsaken. So I think what I need to do is give it a few months distance and then come back to it and see, rather than encountering this book on my overly inflated terms, encounter the book on what it's trying to do. Because I didn't do that. And I think this was a case of me as a reader being slightly off kilter with my expectations. So the jury's out, I guess I want to say, on No Life Forsaken. I had a slightly negative, or not negative, but weaker side of good time with it. And that could also be me. So there's that one. The other book that's coming to mind that I did read upon release, or near enough on release, was Cold Silver for Souls by Tori Tekken, our fellow booktuber in arms. And I really had a good time with that. I mean, I guess that would be my answer. It's really short, it's really slight, it's episodic, and I mean that in a good way. You could get through it in, I want to say 2.5, 3 hours. And you know how you have these books on your shelf where you're like, okay, I guess I'll read that one now. And then you take it down and you just get sucked into it. That was what happened with this book. I'm like, oh, this is really good. And I gobbled it up in about, I want to say, a weekend, which is very rare for me these days. I usually read like 6 or 7 books all at the same time. And so every book takes me about a month to read, but because I'm just kind of doing them all. You know how Brandon Sanderson has his percentage bars? That's like me with books. It was a really fun take on the Western genre. The main character is her name's Hunter. She's a necromancer who, in a world where necromancy is very much kind of not outlawed, but very much frowned upon. And it's kind of a journey around. I mean, I'm very much, brushing past this book in terms of the plot, but she kind of journeys up and down the map and encounters a bunch of people, and it all comes together really effectively at the end. It's a really good little romp, and I had a great time with it. So I guess my answer would have to be Cold Silver for Souls. I think it's a great little book.
I love that.
Yeah.
It's on my list. I've heard you're not the only person who's had very good things to say about it.
Yeah.
Sounds really good.
Nice.
Did you talk with Tori recently about it?
Yeah, we did. Joanna and I did a chat with her. When was that? September. I think it was before our conversation in October, so it must have been September.
Okay.
And we got to sit down and chat with Tori about her work, and
Amazing.
it makes me want to pick up. I think it's called Bloodstone. I think the book is called her other series. So yeah, that's on my list to be read at some point in the near future.
Amazing.
Very nice.
I love that as well. That just that good feeling of just randomly picking something up and then just having the best time with it.
Yeah, but it kind of goes back to what I was saying about. Forgive me, Shauna Lawless, her name was, right? How long are those books? Because in a world of books that are 800, 900, 1,000 pages long, it's nice to encounter something that doesn't feel like it needs to overexert itself. It knows what it is, and it knows that it can tell a story in a certain number of words, and we don't need to add 100 pages of tangential nonsense to become a real fantasy book. So yeah.
It honestly, this is what I mean. It's just, like I say, not reinventing the wheel, but was just executed so well. And I just think sometimes that's what you need, and it works. So yeah, I love this. I'm wondering if you guys have. Question 7 is favorite reread. Do either of you guys reread? Actually, I was actually about to say that, David. You do reread one book in particular quite a lot because we spoke about it a lot when I read it recently.
Are you talking about Malazan?
Oh no, I was talking about Hitchhikers.
Oh! I didn't even think about Hitchhikers. Right, wait. We need to talk about Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. Did you finish it? How far are you on book 2?
No, I've just finished book 1. I'm not on book 2 yet.
I love that book, and it's irrelevant to anything that I'm about to say. But when you messaged me to tell me you were reading it, I was delighted. I was so happy.
The minute I started, I was like, I need to tell David. I have to tell him.
Going back to like our British conversation, peep show, or whatever, I think it is the most quintessentially British book.
I don't think I've ever read anything more British.
Yeah, it's cups of tea in space.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and nihilism.
Yeah.
Funny nihilism.
Loved it.
Jake, please read it.
Yeah.
I'm scared of the humor, man. I'll try it at some point.
You'll
for sure.
Just understand why me and David are the way we are.
I will read it to you, Jake. I've got half an hour left in this call. I've got 21% battery on my laptop. I'll have to sort that out in a minute.
We can swap chapters.
Yeah. Far out in what is a distant spiral arm of the galaxy lives a small, unregarded yellow sun. Orbiting this at a distance of 93 million miles lives a small race of... Oh, I can't remember. It's brilliant. It's so good. You still think digital watches are a pretty neat idea. That's what it was.
Okay.
Honestly, it was brilliant.
Right.
Sorry, I'm just going to really quickly go in with this one.
Cool.
My favorite reread was I'm kind of cheating because I read it and then reread it within a couple of months, both in 2025. So I read it for the first time and reread it in 2025, which was First Law Trilogy.
Good answer.
Yeah. I loved it.
You reread the whole trilogy?
I read the whole trilogy in April, May time last year, maybe March to April last year. And I finished it. And Leanne, she Book by Leanne on Instagram, she read it at the same time and finished Last Argument of Kings at the same time as me. And we both said, that was great. I want to start again. And we went, shall we? Yeah, all right then. And did. And we just started again and went through it all the way again. And I had no regrets. It was one of the best things I've ever done. I loved it. It was great.
That's amazing.
Having Stephen Pacey narrate my life makes my life, I would say, at least 65% better. It's great.
Was it better the first or the second time?
What was that, sorry?
Was it better the first or the second time?
I think it got better the second time. I think there was, what I found really interesting was how many things I'd not picked up on that he actually does highlight right from the off in book 1. Because I think book 1 is often, the Blade itself is often described as being plotless, like having no plot, or it's very much not on the surface at all. And so, but then finishing it and then going back, I just saw so much of the sort of foreshadowing, and you could see all of the little hints and things. And I just thought, wow, it was clever. It was really clever. And it's just, for me, it was that perfect balance between being dark, but also being totally hilarious at the same time. And I just love those characters. I love Logan. I love Glockter. I've never had an experience where I'm reading a scene that is categorically awful, you know, where Glockner is tearing off someone's like nails or something to get information out of them, and I'm just sitting there like, this is great. It's fantastic. So that's my answer.
Do the tour too. Yeah.
So that's mine. Anybody?
Jake, can you do yours? And I'm going to turn my camera off. I'm still listening, but I'm going to get to my charger over there. So, yeah.
Have Ernie get it for you. What are you doing? He's sitting there behind you, just chilling. Come on.
Right. See you guys in a second. I'm still listening.
No worries.
So mine is, at the risk of glazing Gene Wolfe even more, was Shadow the Torturer.
Oh my God. Yes.
Because that is the only reread I did this year. So it wins by default, but it was still, we read it. We had this huge group that was reading it together. I'm going to leave somebody out inevitably, but John and Jacob from Talking Story, Joanna, me, Sam, Preacher, the Tudor Ramble guys. Is there anybody else? Philip. I think that was everybody. And then Chris Verrocchio was there as like our guide.
Love that.
And so, so I read it and I was just like, man, this isn't nearly as hard as I thought. People say how crazy this is. I'm doing good. And then we had that discussion, and I can't remember who it was, but somebody was like, so did you notice X? And I was just like, see, what?
What was
and
that?
Then, like, people just kept saying things. I was just like, I thought I caught a lot, but like, wow. And so after that discussion, I immediately reread the book and got so much more out of it.
Did you prefer the reread?
Yes, 100%. And it was just like, it didn't feel like a different book, but like almost, because it was just so much more. It was still very confusing because it was still just book one and you haven't gotten all of the other knowledge from the other books. But like, at least what was happening in that first book, I was able to catch a lot more the second time. And it was just such a fun experience. And so that's part of what makes me think even more strongly that like people are right. Rereading this series is like where you really get an idea of what's going on. And so it makes me really excited to go through the whole thing again. But that's my answer.
Must have really added to the experience as well, doing it with so many people and getting so many insights and
100%. Yeah. And even on the first read through of the rest of it, like me and Joanna have been talking literally daily when we read the books together, and just like one of us will like sort of recap what we think happened and what we felt about it, and then the other person will like, oh yeah, like I thought I noticed this thing, and or like, oh, I didn't see that, so like we were both noticing things that the other one didn't, and we were able to like theorize and stuff together. And then I was talking with Sam a lot about it and kind of doing some similar things, and being able to talk to people about those books was so immensely helpful. And yeah, and the reread was just like another level of that, basically. Yeah, very fun.
Sorry, Ernie's just like got his nose on the table. He's just looking up at me like this. So distracting. I love that. I love that you did it all as a group and got so much from it. David, what about you?
Ernie, what was your favorite book of the year?
Anything that I've read out loud whilst he's been in the room for. He's literally just head on my lap at the moment.
I had a Labrador a few years ago that looks very, very similar to Ernie. So I think that's why I have my shrine here as well. Calvin the Labrador. Anyway, yeah, named after Calvin and Hobbes. Anyway, I have three, and I'm gonna speed run two because I want to get to the one that I think is most significant. I reread the Demonata series by Darren Shan. It's a young adult horror stuff series. It's 10 books long. It is revoltingly bleak and murderous, and people like it shouldn't, like, young people shouldn't read it. Like it's written for young people, but the amount of horror in there is pretty incredible that he got away with it. And this was a really fun reread because I then got to interview Darren Shan at the end of these 10 books, and I read his stuff when I was like 7. And so having this man on the camera in front of me, I mean, I also interviewed Stephen Erickson this year, and this was really, really terrifying for me. But there was something about having your childhood author, who you used to pass books back and forth in the classroom with, in front of you, was quite disconcerting. So that was really fun. I also reread This Inevitable Ruin by Matt Dinniman, which is book 7 in Dungeon Crawler Carl, and I just love that book. I mean, I wonder if the opinion is beginning to sway against Dungeon Crawler Carl now that it's reached a certain level of hype. That maybe some people are thinking maybe the hype is overblown, which I can understand if you come in and everyone's read it and everyone says it's the funniest thing in the world. But I really did enjoy my reread of This Inevitable Ruin. I think it is just genuinely a very quality book. It's non-stop action, but it controls that action very well. Neither of these are my final answer, though. Guys, Can I talk about Cormac McCarthy? Do you mind? Because I know he's quite rightfully so a controversial man these days.
I don't mind. I don't mind.
Okay, so I reread The Road this year, and I read it for the first time when I was 19, 20. I was in university at some point, and before I became a father, and there was a few of us kind of informally deciding to reread The Road this year, and lots of us had different opinions on The Road. But for me, for the second time, The Road broke me. And I know that McCarthy has turned out to be a very controversial. I mean, controversial implies that there's any kind of doubt. He has a past, Cormac McCarthy, but that book remains just utterly incredible for me. And I'm not a big emotional guy, especially when I'm reading books. I don't tend to get very upset or visually upset. I was bawling like a baby finishing The Road the second time. I could not control myself. And then it got to the stage where I decided to watch clips of the movie online. And I watched the movie years ago, but I decided to rewatch the movie. Same thing. I got to the end of the movie. I was just bawling like a baby. The only other movie that does that to me is Lord of the Rings. My Friends You Bow to No One does the same thing. And with My Friends You Bow to No One, or Of Course You Are, and I'm Coming With You, all these scenes from Lord of the Rings, you can watch them in isolation and still get that tremendous emotional impact. And the same thing was happening with The Road. And actually, this is kind of weird, forgive me, but we're like an hour 40 deep in, and I don't think many people will be watching anymore. So I'm gonna say what happened. I just, for the next kind of week and a half, whenever I was about to go to bed, just watched certain scenes from The Road. And every single time I would end up crying again. So there's like a week and a half straight where I was just watching The Road, crying, watching it again, crying. And I got to the stage where my wife came in and she was like that. I got to the stage where my wife came in like day 6, and she's like, "Why do you keep watching these clips?" I'm like, "You don't get it." Anyway, so I again, for the third time, mentioning that Cormac McCarthy has now a history about him. That book, The Road, remains utterly brutal and strangely uplifting, and nothing has ever hit me quite like it. And I think, despite the author, I need to mention that book there because it's the true answer.
I read it in 2025 as well. Oh, sorry, Ernie keeps sneezing. Sorry, if you can hear that. I read it in September.
Yeah.
For the first time.
Did you like it?
I did. I mean, like you say, it managed to be, as you say, it's totally awful, but as you say, uplifting as well. And I knew I bought it, and then I heard about the controversy, and I thought, is that going to stop me from reading it? I'm not sure. I think I want to give it a go because I'd heard about it, and I'm glad I read it. I think also because for me it's influenced quite a lot of things. So I also watched the film because the film's got Viggo Mortensen in it, hasn't it?
I've just realised that through line there. My Friends You Bow to No One. Maybe it's Viggo. Maybe Viggo does something to me.
It's Viggo. Yeah. It's influenced quite a lot. So one of my favourite games is The Last of Us, on PlayStation and things like that. I must have played that like 7 or 8 times. It's one of my favourites. It's one of my I feel like that was quite influenced by and things like that. And yeah, no, I think it does something. It does something. It's just powerful. It's just really powerful and scary in terms of not feeling too far-fetched. But yeah, no, I can see why that would impact you so much more, so many years on, like from reading it for the first time as well.
Those last 15 pages, and we can talk about it after we go off, I guess. Jake, have you read it?
I've not.
It's bleak.
Yeah, I tried to read it. I don't know when this was. Probably almost a year ago now. And it just wasn't the right timing. Like the style of it really threw me off. Like just the writing style. And I was like, this is just not the right time. I got to come back when I'm more open to that style. But I'm sure it'll impact me pretty profoundly. I just need to be in the right,
That's fair.
Yeah.
No, I like it. There we go. And what are we up to? Number 8. Biggest.
Are we going to finish it? Do you think we've got 20 minutes and 3 questions?
We could.
I believe in us.
I'm going to be quick with my biggest surprise. My biggest surprise is Berserk.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I've said it before. I feel like Jake kind of convinced me. He sold me on it, and I'd never read any manga before. You know, this is my first, and I probably went in at the deep end with it a little bit. But my goodness, I did not realize I could have an experience like that. It completely took me by surprise, and I got very addicted. I've had to put it on pause for a little while. I tried borrowing. My library does ebooks, but on your phone, and I was borrowing some of them but it's zooming in and trying to do it. It was a bit of a hack, so I had to wait until I was in a better position to actually purchase some of them. Some of the libraries don't have the physical copies, so I have had to put a pause on, but honestly, I've just become addicted and I can't wait to continue. I didn't realize that I could feel so emotional about it, but my goodness, it's insane, but incredible. And yeah, deeply controversial, incredibly dark, but my goodness, but again, there are moments that we mentioned it a lot in the chat, didn't we, David, about, you know, there are glimpses, there are moments of good, of hope, of friendship, you know, and connection, and that there is good. And I think those little moments really are needed in that series, but I think it's worth it for that, and it's just incredible. I love it. So yeah, that's my answer.
Can I ask a logistical question about the libraries and the physical copies?
Yeah.
Are they just out on the shelves for anyone to take off?
What?
Well, I'm just thinking that libraries, I mean, ideally, children will come in and read books in libraries. But if Berserk is just on the shelf, I mean, I'm sure you'd have like interested, like, you know, what can we say, pre-teens to early teens.
Yeah, I don't think it's available.
Yeah,
it's not available in so many libraries.
But you said some libraries, right? Or did I mishear you?
I think some, not the ones that I'm local to. But you can request, like I said, the e-copy. That's the only.
The e-copy. Okay.
Yeah, so I was trying that, and I did. I have read one completely on my phone, but it doesn't do it justice. Like zooming in and trying to. It was a bit difficult. So
that's part of why I want to at some point collect like the big deluxe editions, because it's just bigger. Because even like the individual tankobon volumes, it's like you got to really look at it to see some of the detail in some of those.
Definitely.
So
the detail is fantastic.
It really is. His art's awesome, and it just gets better the further you go. Yeah,
it's astonishing, absolutely astonishing. So
those deluxe editions cost a pretty penny, but I would love them. And I'd have to. Just speaking about children taking them off the shelves, I'd have to store them way up high.
Yeah.
To the extent there'd be an earthquake hazard because they're thick. But
they are.
It's such a great story. And I read them when I had COVID a few years ago. I was on holiday, I had COVID, and I had to sequester myself away for a week. And I was like, I wonder what Berserk's about. And I buy the first copy off Amazon Kindle, and I have it on my iPad, and I'm like, okay. And I read like 35 volumes in like a fever dream 5-day session. Wow. And don't regret it. But yeah.
Oh, it's so good. Oh, that's another one I'll reread someday for sure.
What about you guys? Biggest surprise?
Mine's got to be the Heaven Tree. I went into it with I just wanted to read something with Nikhil, and we were like, what should we read? We threw out, it was actually Pandora's Star is the name of the book. I can't remember the author. Peter Hamilton, maybe. Legendary sci-fi author. And then we were like, oh, that's 1,000 pages long. Maybe not that one right now. So we were throwing out ideas. I think we were on a live stream. We were talking about it. And then Janny was like, hey, you should read the Heaven Tree. Because it's like, you know, it describes this person building a cathedral, but it's focused on the arts and the creative process. And I was like, that sounds cool. Yeah, why not? And it's like 250 pages long. Like, all right. And then she was like, hey, I'll join you. And we're like, what am I going to say? No, like that's, you know, crazy. So, but I went into it. It's historical fiction. It's not fantasy. It's not sci-fi. And I was like, I just don't know if I'm going to like, I'll trust you, because like she's earned the benefit of the doubt with knowing a good story. But I was like, I just don't know if I'm going to like it. But it just, from page one, was just so hooked. The prose is so good. The characters are so good. The story is great. To me, it's like, it's the quintessential example that I've seen of everything happens because of the characters' choices, and the characters are their motivations are so well established that you know what they're going to do, but it still takes these twists and turns that you don't necessarily expect. But then it's like, oh, that had to happen. Like it's just so cohesive, and the prose is gorgeous. And I think that the biggest thing to me, especially in that first book of the trilogy, is the way it describes creativity and artistic passion, and just how the artist feels about what they're doing while they're doing it and afterwards when they look back on it. It's beautiful. It's so beautiful. And I fell in love, especially book 1. I fell in love with it. And the ending of book 3 also. Book 2 was a little bit weaker for me, but still fantastic. I didn't think I was going to like it, but I ended up really loving it. So shocked. Yeah.
Love that. Sold me on it.
Yeah. I would recommend that for sure. It's great.
And again, going back to that discussion on kind of shorter, mid-length fantasy books, or historical fiction in this case, is something that I'm increasingly drawn towards, especially when I have so many series that I'm wading through and enjoying. But, I don't feel like I have the ability to add an extra project, having something like, a trilogy or something smaller. Speaking of which, my answer is A Short Stay in Hell by Stephen L. Peck, which is 120 pages long. And this is the story of a nice Mormon man who dies and goes to hell. And it turns out that hell is the Library of Babel. And, basically an almost infinite number of books in this library. Every single combination of letters is somewhere in this library. And you have to go find the book that tells you your life story. And that's how you get out of hell. It's A Short Stay in Hell. And that's on the back cover. And to be honest, the book is really the back cover. It's just the playing out of this premise, this thought experiment of, if hell is nearly infinite, but not infinite, and you can escape, what does that look like on the human psyche when you're dealing with being in hell for billions of years? And surely, that sounds monstrous, but isn't that better than the, Abrahamic representation of hell, which is genuinely infinite? So the reason I bring this book up is because I read it because I wanted to read a book. I had an afternoon to spare, and I downloaded it onto my Audible, and I listened to it. And I think it's an hour 40. It's very short. It's basically a short story. And I finished it, and I went, yeah, that was pretty good. And then a week later, I had this inclination to listen to it again. And I've only read it those 2 times. But I have not thought about this novella every day since I've read it. There's always at least one moment in the day where I've thought about A Short Stay in Hell and how mental it is and how horrifying it is on so many levels. And it's written from this first person POV, so it does feel like you're experiencing this depiction of hell. It's awesome. It's awful. It goes back to Baker. It's awful, but it's awesome.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
I love that. Yeah.
But can I segue to biggest disappointment, guys, in the sake of time?
Yeah, of course.
Speaking of books that go on forever, my biggest disappointment is Wind and Truth.
Yeah, I mean, I've not read Stormlight, but oh my gosh, David, we match semi on this. I'll let you explain first.
Well, on Wind and Truth.
No, I'll explain in a moment. You carry on.
I'll be very quick because I know we want to get to the end here. I was so excited for Wind and Truth. And I know that a few people kind of came out initially and said, I'm not sure this is what we wanted. And Sanderson has now himself said, this is a very controversial book, and that's by design. I was so bored. Talk about purgatory. I got 300 pages into this book, and it was Christmas holidays. It was right at that bridge between New Year and going in. So it was 2024 into 2025. I really struggled with it. And the last 500 pages were genuinely a chore. And when you were talking about the culmination of a decade of text and story and characters that you resonate with, Dalinar, Kaladin, and I love those 2 guys. Having it feel so grey and watery by the end was a bit upsetting. So that's my answer.
I hear what you mean. I liked it more than most people, I would say. I still had a very good time in general. It's certainly not perfect. I have some complaints, but you're not the only one who feels that way. That's for sure.
Did you like the chapter on the spray and genitalia?
No, that was weird. I don't know why that was there.
Imagine a chapter on Tinkerbell's anatomy, and that's what we got in Wind and Truth.
Ooh.
Yes. No, it's not. It's not intriguing. It's awful.
It was weird.
Editor, yeah.
Anyway, strange.
Yeah, Sanderson's humor does not land for me hardly ever.
Oh no!
And that was one that just didn't. That just wasn't great. PL.
Yeah.
I can also be relatively fast because I also just don't like ragging on books that much. But I would say, to be honest, I can't even remember the name of book 2. But it was the end of book 2 and the beginning of book 3, which I then DNF'd, of the Last War trilogy from Mike Shackle. A lot of people love these books, super fast paced, action packed. It's just violent, grimdark, Book 1 I liked a lot. Almost all of book 2 I liked a lot. And then the end of book 2, he makes a choice that I didn't personally like that much, but I think more so it just didn't work. Like there were ramifications of that choice that he just did not address whatsoever that made it make zero sense to me, that then really took me out of it. And then book 3 was kind of still that, and then also it just felt like battle, but no emotional weight to it, for me at least. So then I was just like, I'm out. So that was the thing. I liked book 1 a lot, but then I was just like, ugh. Also, PL, I love Oathbringer. That might be
his best one. Yeah.
Oathbringer and Words of Radiance are tied probably for my favorite Stormlight book.
You Cannot Have My Pain is such a great scene.
I still
10 out of 10.
Multiple quotes from Dallin on that book still make me tear up when I think about it.
Yeah.
Multiple.
Yeah.
So, anyway.
Cool.
No,
Ashley, what were you going to say earlier, Ashley, when you made an allusion to a commonality that we have?
Well, I was going to say, actually, Jake, I agree with you in terms of the Last War trilogy, because I also DNF book 3. Really struggled. I wanted to love it, but just didn't. No, I'm going to say my biggest disappointment was, oh gosh, people are going to hate me. It was Mistborn, The Final Empire.
Ooh.
It was my first ever Brandon Sanderson book. And again, I listened to the audio, so I don't know if it just didn't work for me because I listened to the audio, and I don't think it's not really the strongest audio I've ever listened to. So it may have been that. So I'm putting that out there. It may have just been that. But obviously, it's Brandon Sanderson. Like, it was my first book by him. I thought, right, this is it. This is going to change my life.
If that's what you thought about book 1, book 2, Man Alive.
I just didn't really care for it. That's
too
it.
Bad. Yeah, that's a rough starting point. I really like the Mistborn books, but I also read them very early on in my adult reading journey, right? So maybe I'd feel differently on a reread. But it's like that's one of the most highly recommended places to start.
Exactly.
Right. So
yeah. I just didn't find myself caring about the plot or the story or the story in general, the characters. I thought I don't really care what happens to them. I don't like to be negative about books. I agree, but that one. I think knowing how popular Brandon Sanderson is, it really did put me off. And maybe it just means his writing doesn't work. Maybe it was just that series. Not sure, but yeah. So that was a disappointment.
I might try Tress or Yumi before you totally give up on him.
I've heard Tress might be.
I think you'd like those too.
Yeah. Okay.
I really liked Mistborn, and I really didn't like books 2 and 3. So it seems like we're all over the place with Sanderson. I really appreciate Sanderson, but there's so much I like about him, but very, very mixed bag in my opinion.
Yeah.
I'm a big fan, to be honest.
Yeah.
We'll see. My taste has certainly changed a lot though since I've read those books. So we'll see on a reread how all the Cosmere holds up. But
yeah.
Totally fair. There we go. And then, we did it. We made it. Number 10. One book you would recommend to anyone. I'm not now looking to see what I wrote down. Oh, okay. Is it all right if I quickly go?
Yeah,
of course.
Okay, really quickly. I've already spoken about it, so people will know why, but I would recommend Blood Over Brighthaven by M.L. Wong to everyone.
Good pick.
I think it was great, and I think anybody would read it. It's not just for fantasy readers. I just think it was fantastic. I would also recommend Glorious Exploits by Ferdia Lennon. This is historical fiction, and it's it's about the fallout of war between, is it the Athenians and another party? It's all going to fall out of my brain now that I want to talk about it, but it talks about so many things. But it's told, you're talking about sort of Greek history, but taught with such a modern contemporary voice, but in a way that's not jarring. Ferdia's got a very great way of, writing with such a modern voice that you would think it wouldn't work, but it works. And it's basically it's about these two men that work they're two potters in Syracuse after a war, and they also work amongst lots of slaves, Athenians that are being kept as slaves. And they decide one day to put on a play because they don't want Euripides. So Euripides' plays are sort of like dying out, and they don't want his plays to die out. So they decide to put on a play, and they employ the Athenian slaves sort of on the hush hush. And and that's the story. That's the basis. And it doesn't sound like anything too astonishing, but it was just brilliant. It was beautiful. It was heartbreaking. It was hilarious as well. I actually think I saw John from Talking Story talking about it recently, saying it was one of his top books of 2025. It was great, and I just think I would recommend it to anybody. So yeah, that was mine.
Cool. That's awesome.
Mine, if I can go very quickly, is very simple because I think everyone's already read it anyway. I have been reading Lord of the Rings. And I'm not finished it. I think you finished it, Ashley, right?
Yeah.
So I finished Fellowship of the Ring, and I read it years ago, but in my adult life, this was the first time that I'd read the Fellowship of the Ring. And I think I was putting it off because I kind of viewed, I was probably being ultra pretentious in my mind. Think how pretentious I am verbally, and then times that by 3, and that's what's going on up here. Because it's the granddaddy of fantasy. I'm like, well, now we have the kids, and I want to read the kids and see how things have progressed since then. And I think that might have been what was going on in my mind. Anyway, I was putting it off, and I always wanted to read it, but I was always like, yeah, okay, another day. It's on the list, but the list is long. And I just decided this year to pick up Fellowship, and it was one of the most exquisite reading experiences I've ever had. I think the other reason I put it off is because I know the movies, and so I felt like going from movie adaptation to book is the wrong way round. I think that was giving me some hesitancy. I had the best time with it, and I would, if anyone is on a similar level of pretension as me or has any kind of hesitancy to read Lord of the Rings and they haven't already, it's probably one of the only few series I started at the end of this year, and I'm so glad I did. So that's my answer there.
I can vouch for that.
Yep,
I'm in the same boat.
That's great. I'm very due for a reread of that one. I read that like probably 15, 20 years ago. And like, I remember being like, oh, I like the movies better, but I was also, a kid. So
that's same as me. We're in the same boat there. Yeah.
Yeah. So I think I'm due for an adult reread. My answer for this, I'm tempted to say Curse of the Mistwraith because I think contrary to popular belief, that series is for everybody and you will surprise yourself at how well you comprehend everything. But I do think I'm going to go with the Heaven Tree for this, just because it is so widely applicable. It really shows you what writing is capable of and how much you can connect to something. And I think especially for anybody who either is creative in literally any way, or if you're not, but you're curious what that feels like, both of those, which then winds up being everybody, can really appreciate, I think, how that's explored and written in this book, which by the way is from the 60s and is like,
oh, interesting.
Yeah, it's unbelievable, the quality. I've come to really love older books, so that's what I'll say here is the Heaven Tree.
I love that. That's something that I've been meaning to do. Is I need to start going back rather than just looking to future or just recent releases. I really want to look more to, older books.
Yeah,
definitely.
Great. We made it. We squeaked in just under 2 hours.
Pulled into the station. Yeah, I'm very impressed with us.
We did it. I'm so proud of us. Thank you both so much for joining.
Thank you. This is super fun.
This was
I foisted responsibility upon you, Ashley.
You did. How dare you? I was terrified. I'm so glad I went for it. No, thank you. Thank you to everybody who has been joining, watching along, and commenting. We realised that this was a tag, and that it's a bit late in January to maybe be tagging more people. I did want to just tag a couple of people if they do fancy doing it. So that was Ali from Melina Reads and Victoria from Victoria Reads, 2 amazing booktubers that I adore. I would love to tag them if they feel like it. But David, did you say? Or
Jake, do you have one first? Because I'm going at a right-hand turn.
You go, because we're almost out of time.
But do you have a tag? I'll waste time. I'll do it.
I don't know that I do. I wasn't prepared for this.
Well, I wanted to tag you both in something else because of the fact that the end of the year was now about a month ago. I've done 2 videos last year on both my green flags and my red flags with reading. One is more like my pet peeves, and one is the positives that I enjoy from books. I would invite either of you to do either your reading green flags or your reading red flags, your pet peeves, or some combination of both. Because I really enjoyed making those videos. I'd love to see your thoughts. We have 8 seconds left.
Thank you so much. I love that challenge. Thank you so much, everybody. Thank you guys for joining me.
Bye, guys.
Goodbye.
It still says we're live. Was that whole thing